But for now, let's check in with our CBS News radio correspondent, Steve Futterman. He joins us now from Naples. And Steve, what are you seeing? We understand that the eye wall of the storm just passed through downtown Naples.
Yeah, well, this is the strongest we've seen the winds. It's really torrential rainfall. The winds are so strong. I'm guesstimating, based on what I've been told, that some of these gusts may be well over 100 miles an hour. When you're outside there, I just came back inside after being outside for a bit. You had to brace yourself a couple of times. I never came close to falling over, but it's pretty tough out there right now. It's almost like a movie scene that you would witness in a great film about a hurricane. The scenes are just remarkable as these sheets of rain just come by over and over. They're continuous. It's nonstop rain and wind. You see trees sway back and forth. I saw a couple trees that had come down, even flagpoles swaying quite a bit back and forth. And, you know, it takes quite a force to do that. Obviously, it's not a good place for anyone to be outside right now. That's why, of course, news reporters are out there. But it is quite a frightening scene at times.
And Steve, as of 5 p.m. Eastern time, we are now told that the storm has been downgraded to a Category 2, which is still dangerous. And you talked about it. Now 110-mile-per-hour winds. You said it's well over 100 miles there. What else can you tell us in the area where you are, and where are you taking shelter at this point?
Well, I've been at a hotel, one of the hotels that you were able to get into that allowed reporters a guarantee that they were going to stay open. Many times, many of our colleagues at CBS, they've had to evacuate from hotels that were in the evacuation area. They just had to shut down, and even though reporters were willing to stay there, the hotel owners decided not to do it. So this is sort of a inside baseball thing that we have to go through. But I've been in a hotel, and in the last few minutes, we finally lost power. It's been flickering back and forth. We finally lost some power, so we may be without power for the rest of the night. It's very hard to maintain power when you have winds this strong, and unfortunately, we just lost power a few moments ago.
Yeah, the governor had been warning about this, that there will be power shortages. We know already well over 2 million people throughout the state of Florida have lost power. Steve, you've been there now for some time. Do you think that this is the level that the officials on the ground had been preparing and bracing and warning about?
Well, Rena, I do think the last day or so they've been preparing for something like this, and maybe even a bit worse. I mean, they were talking about maybe even Category 3 or 4, which would take it up to 130 miles an hour. So maybe they were prepared for something even a bit worse as far as the winds go. But, yeah, they've been prepared for it. Whether or not they've been able to do much to get ready and prevent damage, that's hard to say. Most people in the main evacuation areas, city officials estimate 2/3 of the people who lived in the prime evacuation areas, the most dangerous potential areas, they believe 2/3 of the people did evacuate from those areas. So there's still a significant number of people who probably remained inside. The big concern still, as we've been saying the last few days, isn't the rain and the wind, although that is a concern. The biggest concern is the potential of a storm surge, which the best way to explain, it's sort of a tsunami-like giant wave that will hit this area. The question is when and how big will that wave be? Some estimates have said the last few days it could be as high as 15 feet. So you'll have potentially a 15-foot wall of water just come in and hit the coastal area of Naples, maybe even Fort Myers, although it may not be that high in Fort Myers. But this is the big concern. A wave like that is just catastrophic. It just destroys so many things in its path, damages so many things, and that's the big worry right now.
And Steve, it'll cause massive flooding in that area as well.
Oh, yes. When you have a 15-foot wave come in, yes. And these are low-lying cities. Tampa, of course, because of its geography, topography, and the soil composition, so many things. Tampa is the worst city in the U.S. when it comes to potential flooding, according to many experts. But Naples is not a great city for potential flooding. Fort Myers isn't a good place for potential flooding. So all these areas that lie so low, and obviously on the Gulf Coast, they are primed to have flooding issues.
Steve, when you talk about storm surge, is there a timeline? Can you walk us through the night of what the danger zone is for Naples? The images that we're seeing right now are pretty horrific. I can't imagine it getting worse, but you say it will get worse. What's the timeline?
not going to get much worse. I think this is about the worst it's going to be, but it's going to go on for a while right now. And by the way, I'm just watching this flagpole go back and forth.
Wow.
It is swaying even further on each side. But this type of the conditions we see right now may continue for another half hour max. Then it should get a bit reduced to normal hurricane levels, if there's such a thing. So another half hour to an hour, I think things will begin to calm down. Then you get ready for the surge.
All right, Steve Futterman, our CBS correspondent colleague there. Thank you, Steve, and make sure you stay safe. We appreciate it.
Take care. Nice talking to you.